the May craft along. Let me just get set up, make sure it all is looking good. Come down a little bit more. Bring you a little bit closer. There we go. Wonderful. I am going to watch along as well on a separate screen. So let me just start that. Or will that be automatic? It will be automatic. Excellent. I can see that. So, welcome along. This is the May Craft Along, hosted by me. I'm Della by Design, or I'm Della, and I run Della by Design, a small business. It's just me, and I create design and create structured card making kits aimed at adults, with a few ones for kids as well. But today I'm going to be hosting 3 workshops today. This is the first one, and this is what we're going to be making, the Dreamy Pastels card kit. And let me just see. So if you are watching along live, it'd be great to have say hello. Make sure you let me know you can hear me. I've done a few tests this week to make sure everything's working fine, but yes, it'd be lovely to know live that it's all working properly. I seem to have managed to give myself a cough in like the last 10 minutes waiting to go live. It's like, I'll just clear my throat, and now I'm like just coughing. So apologies. I have some water. And yes, so just to say, we are so this is my first time broadcasting on YouTube with my mobile phone. The technical side, that is a slightly different way of doing it, so apologies if I have to stop and rearrange anything, but yes, so if you've got any questions, you can add them to the live chat, I believe, which I should be able to see on the screen that I'm watching. So if you've got any questions while I'm making, do jump in and ask, or if you're watching the replay at any point, do feel free to add any questions, and I will get back to you as and when I can, when it's after it's finished live. Or if you want to email me, I'm at della@dellabydesign.co.uk, or you can find me on the usual Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. So yeah, do jump on board and get involved. So today, this is the first kit we're making, so it's the Dreamy Pastels card kit. So if you've pre-ordered, if you've booked onto this workshop and you ordered the craft along kit, you will have your kit wrapped up and labelled with this label, so you can go ahead and open that up now. If you're this is available as a box kit, so if you've got the box kit from me, then you will have 4 of these cards that you can make. So it's your choice if you want to mix up the colours and have different combinations, have it all blue, have it yellow and purple stripes, whatever you want to do. But we're going to be making this design today. It's very really lovely and flexible, this one. And so in your kit you will find, you'll have an envelope. I haven't bothered an envelope out for this bit, but you've got the card blank with a label on the back. You'll probably have yours folded over. I always start with mine flat. And you'll also have, so this is the advanced kit, so you'll have 4 oblongs in these colours, and then you'll have 5 flowers, one on a rainbow background, and then you'll have the happy birthday on a rainbow background as well. And then you have these gorgeous little strips, that same rainbow, and these have double-sided tape at each end, just to help constructing this card. And yeah, so if you've got the advanced kit, you also have a pot of this liquid pearls paint as well, the white opal one, and that's what we use to make these little dots on the card. So it gives a nice little 3D element. So if you've got this in your kit, this takes a couple of hours to dry. So I would recommend, if you've got the time, to prep these cards in advance. Leave them. I generally leave them overnight because I get too worried about the 2 hour limit. So I generally leave them overnight, and then I know they're definitely dry in the morning. And then assemble the card. And then, but the alternative is what we're going to do today is to make the card and then add these on as the last step, which I will do today. Yeah, it's live video. What could possibly go wrong? Well, that will be fine. So right then. So normally I'd be at the first step, but it's not going to be my first step today. I'll put that to one side and let's get making. So to start off with the advanced kit. So if you've got the beginner's kit, you'll have these pieces already with the dots on. You'll have your flowers cut out and the happy birthday cut out. So that's what I'm going to start off with now. So using a small pair of sharp scissors, I'm going to cut around these. So I'm just going to sort of follow the wiggly edge, but it doesn't need to be too neat. If you want to, you can even leave a border around the edge. It will still look very nice. So I'm aiming to cut on the outside of the black line, so keeping that outer black line there. Okay, there's that one. So that's nice and easy to start off with, and then we'll cut out these flowers. So the trick of this kind, so you can fussy cut these. Hang on, it's way around. Bubble cut. Where, let me just show you a little bit where you sort of cut around the edge and just sort of smooth going in and out like that. So you can opt to do that, it's a bit quicker, a bit easier, or you can, what they call fussy cut, so actually going into the outer black line. And a couple of tips for doing this is obviously have nice sharp scissors and keep the scissors still and then rotate the card when you want to change direction, so you're not trying to get around the shape, and also to cut off any excess card, so you're not trying to sort of like you when you try and peel a tangerine in one go and go way around. So if you just every time you get to the end of a section, just cut off the excess, because that extra card will sort of drag against the scissors and stop you being able to move as easily. So if you've got, so we're going to cut out these flowers. I'm going to take my time. So if you're cutting out as well with the advanced kit, but if you've got the beginner's kit, you can either fast forward along, obviously not live, but you can fast forward along once you're watching the replay, or just enjoy a cup of tea and relax, or add some colours to the flowers, to the leaves, the petals, sorry. Make the card your own. I definitely see these designs as at the starting point. I think often when you're sitting down to make cards, you feel like a lack of inspiration. Nothing seems to sort of go right, and you just don't get anywhere. Whereas I like to think of these, especially like the box kits, when you've got four 4 cards to make. He's like, make the first one, follow the instructions, kind of like a mindful activity, just follow instructions and end up with a beautiful card. But while you're making it, generally like that little spark of inspiration hits, and you think, oh, you know what, I've got a lovely little cat stamp that I could go on there. I could cut that out. I could do this. I could do that. I could change that. And then you've got the other 3 cards in the set to experiment with and adapt and make your own. Sometimes all we need is just that spark to get started. So, coming up today, so this is the craft along. So I like to host these events. So it's a full day. There's 3 workshops running today, and they're spread out throughout the year. So this is the first one, and then the next workshop I host is the mystery workshop. So no one knows what the card design is. It's wrapped up in a kit, and we'll open it together at midday today. I say no one, I know what it is. I've designed the card and made the kit. It's not like Ready Steady Cook, where I'm going to put in a random selection of bits. That would be fun though. Open a random craft toolkit, see what you can make. Might need longer than 20 minutes though. Is it 20 minutes Ready Steady Cook? I think it was. It's going back a way, isn't it? So I do like cutting out. I don't know if you've bubble cut it. That's more your preference. That's fine. But I find cutting out sort of therapeutic in the same way that like cross stitch. Like it's especially cross stitch once you've you've got like 4 lines of the same colour, and you can just crack on without having to count and change threads. So I quite often do this type of cutting out whilst watching TV in the evening. I say watching. I'll listen along while cutting out. So I've cut out a lot of these flowers in the last few weeks. Getting your kits ready, and it also features in the workshop at 2 o'clock today, which is, I can't remember how I described it now, it's like just inspired by. So this is the design we're starting with, and so the next workshop is adapted and inspired by this design. So we're going to be making a set of 4 note cards using these same colour palette and this flower stamp. Let me do this one next. So this background, I'll tell you about. So I've actually created this background. It's using pro markers, which are alcohol-based pens. They have a chisel, so they have a pointed end and a chisel end, which is what I use to do these long straight lines. And basically I overlap them slightly, and the pens have a beautiful ability to sort of blend with each other. So although these are like different colours, like you could blend beautifully between like 4 different shades of green, say. Whereas these are different colours, and you just get that slight overlap and a little bit of blending. And so that's how we've done the happy birthday background and the stripes as well. So that's big sheets of card that I've added the background of the pens and then sliced with the guillotine to get those beautiful straight strips. And we'll be learning a bit more about pro markers in the mystery workshop. I won't give too much away, but it does involve some pro marker work, and the advanced kits includes a pro marker pen. And one more. Let's not lose those in there. And if you do cut too much of the black bit off, or you leave a little bit over, you can always go back over with a little black pen and fill in any bits. Or just embrace the beauty that is a handmade card for someone. There we go. So that's the 5 flowers cut out. Right, let me just move all these beautiful clippings to one side. I will recycle them later. Right, we're ready to start assembling the card. So let's start by adding some foam pads to the back of all the flowers and this. So foam pads, these are, so it comes in, I think I was like nearly on my, I think every kit I create has some of these foam pads in. So they are double-sided, so they're sticky on both sides. They've got a backing and they're slightly fixed, so it helps raise bits of the card up, just to give that sort of 3D interest, a bit of a nice 3D effect. But if you are posting your card, then just need to be careful because it might tip it over the limit for a letter. Here in the UK, you might have to pay extra for a large letter instead. So, but obviously you can opt just to keep it all flat. So I'm going to take off one of these. So peel it off. So one side is sticky, the other side's got the backing, and they're just the right size, if I remember, to fit on there and not go over the edges. So I'm going to add one of those to each of the other flowers. There we go. And on the purple one. And I guess that's the rainbow one, if it's white on this side, yep. And then on the back of the happy birthday, let's see, we can probably fit 4 on there. So you don't have to completely cover, just sort of need to get, oh, I just took one in the middle since an extra one came off. Ah, no it wasn't, it was just the backing. I feel like I should now. That nice little diagonal in the middle. Put that backing bit back on. So those bits are all ready. So you can either choose to copy this layout, or you can obviously mix up the colours, or you can put the pieces horizontally. The brain freeze then. Horizontally. It's up to you, or you can adapt it in any which way you like. You can cut these up and add some extra interest. You can even cut them in half and then like weave them together. Be a nice idea. But anyway, let's start with this one. So what I'm going to do is going to lay them out first, just so that I'm happy that the spacing. So basically, they should all sit next to each other, close enough that they get an even border around the edge, and then the gap between them matches as well. So I'm looking for an even border around the edge and the gaps in between. So once we're happy with that, I'm then going to just lay these on top for now. Let me just move this up a little bit so that you can see the full card. That's it. So I'm going to lay these across in even gaps. Just going to flip that round, one round the other way round. Generally, it's assuming these strips have come from the same batch that I've made, you'll see that the colours, the stripes are lined up. So what I've just done there is just zigzagged it so that they're different, so there's a bit more interest. So I'm going to line those up there. Beautiful. And then I'm going to hold these 3 bits down. I'm just going to take out this one. And then I'm going to stick the top one and the bottom one down where they are. So I'm going to lift it up. Whoop. This is where the bit on the back. So it's got some double-sided tape. So I'll just cut my nails really short. Oh dear. I might need to use a knife or a pokey tool for this. Alright, it's gone. So take off the backing. If that is a trouble, just try and pick something sharp just to lift the end off. And then add, so where you've got everything else in place, you can judge, doesn't have to be too exact, but you can judge where that should position. Don't stick down the middle one, and stick down the bottom one. And again, I actually doing this off camera. So I've got short nails, but I've also, I think, painted them with 4 layers of lovely nail varnish, and it just feels thick on the end. There we go. That there, get them straight. Excellent. I'm going to move that across, and I'm going to add some glue onto the back here. So you can use any glue suitable for like paper or card. This is quite a thick card, so you can get away with PVA, a little bit of PVA glue. It's not too wet to sort of go through the card. I'm going to use this what I call a glue mouse. So it dispenses double-sided tape, which is just a nice quick and easy way. Some tape on the back there. So I'm going to stick that down, getting that gap on the side and the top on the bottom, and it's going to stick over the top of those 2 strips. And now let's just line everything up again. So one a bit higgledy-piggledy. Now I'm going to stick the middle strip down on top of the blue one. Just one end. I get ahead of myself. So I'm going to stick that down on top. There we go. Now we're going to take these off. Remove these 3. So that's our sort of our fixed base, and now we're going to glue these and weave them into place. So I'll add some glue onto the back. I actually think wet glue might be better for this now because it lets you move it a little bit more. But we'll see how we go. So you want to go under the top one. So you're going to be careful not to touch the card with, and it's going to go over the middle one and then under that one. So slide it in and then find that sweet spot where the gap at the top and the bottom is the same. Down. And then the next one is the pink one. So if you're doing this with the beginner's kit, just make sure that you're gluing the back with the pearly dots are on the top. So now we're going to go under the middle one, but over the other 2. So lift that up. Just going to make sure that's, yeah. That's why I sort of like to lay it out at the start. Although I've cut all these and I know all the dimensions to make it work, but it's like laying it out to start with just gives you that confidence that you know if you follow that rule, then it will fill the card correctly. So now we're on to this one. So this one you can take the end and stick this end down. Technically it would be stuck with the card, which I might resort to if I don't get this up. There we go. Down. And then stick this last one down. This is going to go under the top one, under the bottom one. Line it up so you've got that gap. Alright, now the next stage is to peel off these ones, which is going to be a little tricky with my short nails. So I'm going to use, let's see if I got Pokey tool. This is what I call a pokey tool. Very sharp stick. Let's see if I can. There we go, stick that down. And the same with this one. So if this is too fiddly, you can just dab a little bit of glue underneath, or just arrange the flowers on top, or leave them flapping. They're not going to go anywhere. they're already stuck down. Oh, the first one went so easily. It's so rare for me to have short nails. There we go. And stuck down. Beautiful. Now we can arrange the flowers and happy birthday. Oh, that's gone astray there. So I'm going to copy this layout. Let me just put those bits over there. The back into the tape is plasticky, so that won't be recycled. So just going to copy this. So it's nice to have the colour, the contrast between the colour flower and the background. So pink on blue and blue on pink. Rainbow on rainbow. Beautiful. So once you're happy with that, then you can start taking off the backings to stick down each bit, and I think this will be easier. So do it off camera. Go. Just make sure I leave enough room for the dots at the bottom. One. There we go. Alright, so let's put these to one side. So all that remains, it does look a bit bare, doesn't it, without the dots. So the next step is to add the dots on. But obviously if you've done the beginner's kit, that would already be done for you. And if you did the advanced kit with a bit more extra time, you would have done it in advance, and it would already be on there. So let me show you how to do that. And I need some scrap paper for this. Scrap paper. So basically we're going to squeeze this paint straight out from the tube. It does have a lovely small nozzle on the top for this, but any kind of air bubbles or anything in there, and it can just sort of explode is too strong a word, but a little pop of crafting disaster if you're doing it onto the card. So I always start on the scrap, just let all the paint drop down to the end of the nozzle, and depending on whether it's a new one, this one's new-ish, but still I've used it quite a few times, so you've got to work out how hard you need to squeeze the bottle for the paint to start coming out. and that always changes. So it's always worth, even if you think you know it well, it's always worth doing it on some scrap paper just to get used to how it's working. So to add these dots, try and see if I can get a close up. So to add these dots, I angle, so I actually put the tip of the nozzle at an angle, but I touch it onto the card or the paper, and I squeeze until I can see the paint coming out, and then when it does, I lift up, which gives that sort of spike up. So although it doesn't dry in a spike, but it does, it sort of settles down and doesn't go off to the side. So squeeze and then lift, squeeze and then lift, squeeze and then lift, and then lift. So let's get that into focus. It will focus. Nope, doesn't want to focus, I'm afraid. I'll have to put some photos of that up later. So I'm going to do it onto here. Just going to get the pressure right first before I do. I'm going to add a row of dots along the edge. Got quite a few in there this time. About 6 or 7 across each one, but you can do less or more, just to be consistent with what you've done. And so notice I'm not taking the pressure off the bottle. I'm not letting it reset at all. But if you need to give your hand a break, feel free. But when you start again, make sure you test off, get the pressure right off the page. That's when the air bubbles can strike. And then when you want to do the other side, I recommend rotating the paper or the card, and do it at the same angle that you just did. So what you're comfortable in. So again, I'm going to test. Get the pressure right on here first. So these paints, they're great for adding little decorations like this, like the centre of flowers, so you could add some more onto that. So I'm going to give my hand a break. Or what I've done in the past from one of my Christmas kits is that you can squeeze some out, mix it with a little bit of water, and then paint it in onto the card, and it makes sort of a pearlised card finish, which is very pretty. And they come in hundreds of different, I say hundreds, maybe 800 different colours. This one's the white opal one. It's very versatile. Has a nice silvery white shimmer. Excellent. So then we're going to leave that to dry. I'm not even going to attempt to fold the card because when you fold it, I might catch that end one, and I'm not going to drop that onto there. There you go. Mark, so you know it's this one. So I'm going to fold over this scrap so I don't accidentally put anything else on the wet paint. And there we have it. Let me put that there carefully. So what I really want to do now is put this on a windowsill or somewhere completely out of my reach, out of my sight, so that I completely forget about it for the next few hours, and don't risk just tidying it away and smudging the paint. So yeah, please be careful with them. Yes, and if you have got the a sample, it's always quite a good idea if you do a couple of dots on a scrap bit of paper, you can test that when you want to poke it with your finger and see if it's dry. Do that, and don't do it on here. But thank you ever so much for joining me for this first craft along session of today. Thank you for joining the workshop. If you would like to have a go at making this card yourself, the box kit is available on my website. If you're watching this live or near live over this weekend at the middle of May 2023, then there is 20% off this kit on my Etsy shop at the moment to celebrate this day of workshops. So yeah, do grab that. And then at 12 o'clock we'll be back for the mystery kit, and then at 2 o'clock we'll be making the note cards, which is based on this kit. So let me just show you that so you can watch this video as well. So they're smaller cards, by 4x4, it's a set of 4 note cards which have got different messages on. Good for that, just those cards you need just to say hello, not necessarily a birthday, just want to reach out to someone. That's a lot of fun. So if you'll notice on here, on the background, it has those pearlized dots, which isn't something we'll be able to add during the lesson. I'll explain how, but if you want to get ahead of time and open up that kit and add the drops onto the background, just a sort of not a splatter pattern, but a random pattern across all of the back, then I recommend doing that before the workshop at 2 o'clock. Wonderful, thank you ever so much, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.